Hey guys, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but actually these past couple of weeks I've been on a weekly schedule for this channel, and it's all been leading up to this video, which is my second anniversary video. That's right, Movie Timelines has been around for 2 years now, so I wanted to celebrate, and I also wanted to celebrate, at the time of release of this video, I'll probably be right around 5,000 subscribers, which is really exciting to me. I know that in the YouTube world that's not as many subscribers as lots of people out there but I will tell you that I created this channel. I'm just excited that anybody even wants to watch it. So thank you guys all for subscribing and enjoying it. And then to celebrate, I wanted to kick off a new series, which is going to be something I do here and there. It's called Reheated Turkeys. It's basically going to focus on one movie, a movie that's ridiculously terrible, but I happen to love it a whole lot anyhow. We're kicking off this series with one of my all-time favorite really awful movies, Treasure of the Four Crowns. Okay, so everything starts off with a Star Wars style crawl, although a slightly more lopsided and cut-off version. It tells us about the four crowns and how they're objects of power, and there's a key that unlocks them. We then meet our hero, J.T. Stryker, which was a really cool name in the 80s. Trust me. J.T. kinda looks like a guy that would run a local pizza shop, but he's actually a soldier of fortune. Oh, and he's the film's producer, which kinda explains the lead role. And another thing, did I mention that this film was in 3D? Well, if I didn't, you'll find out soon enough, because things get pointed at the screen, like all the time. Like non-stop in this movie. Like this spear coming out of a beaver's mouth, or other weird wildlife. Speaking of weird wildlife, he's then attacked by birds and maybe a dragon? And then a snake, because this is totally different than Indiana Jones. I mean, would Indy make this face? Then a dog, because I guess the artifact is in an animal shelter or something. But then he finds the key and faces off against floating crossbows and everything else that can fly at the camera, all while JT makes bold acting choices with facial expressions. We show once again that this is drastically different than Indiana Jones, because this boulder is on fire and there's more than one of them, which is completely different, guys. And then he escapes with the key while the castle explodes. And here's where I get to point out that this entire opening sequence is the whole first 20 minutes of the movie. And at 22 minutes into the film, we finally get our first line of dialogue. That's right, the whole first 20 minutes of this movie are a guy dodging things that fly right at the camera in 3D. And not a single line of dialogue is spoken, which is either extremely unnecessary to a mind-numbing degree or the precursor to the beginning of 28 Days Later. You decide. We're shown one of the four crowns with excessive 3D poking, and we're told that one of the crowns was destroyed centuries ago, and this one was recovered, which they unlock with the key. It turns out that Brother Jonas here has the other crowns, and why did they even have to bring up the fourth one? I mean, they call the movie Treasure of the Four Crowns, and then just tell us the one was destroyed a long time ago. Why not just call it Three Crowns and leave that part out? I mean, they wrote the movie, they created the mythology. They could have just said it was Three Crowns. But they made it four, and then wrote in that one was destroyed off screen. While assembling his team, the key floats around the room by itself like magic. I mean, who knows how it was just floating there? It makes a teapot sound while floating around and wrecking things in 3D while characters react for what seems like forever. And then JT hires a drunk, a clown, and an acrobat. And look, I know this isn't a timeline, but it's apparently 1982 according to this calendar. We get the scoop on the two crowns, and one holds the secret to human goodness, while the other holds the secret to its darkness. And from what I gather, you don't have to put them in a gauntlet. They use a really intricate model to map out the fortress, and damn, I mean, somebody really took that model job seriously. That thing is detailed. Did they hire some professional model maker to construct this thing just to demonstrate the security systems of the fortress? I mean, they put little dirty laundry on the surrounding building's balcony. And now here comes this goddamn key again. So then they head off into the fortress, and oh my god, we're an hour in. So let me emphasize, we're an hour into the movie, and the hero has been given a task and assembled his team. That's it. This would have been the first 15 minutes of any other movie, but JT Stryker needs that kind of time. Deactivating the security system requires pushing things into the camera, but then they have to get past a motion-sensitive floor by scaling the ceiling, which is why they needed the acrobat. Although I should point out, they brought the acrobat on board before they found out about the pressure-sensitive floor and came up with the ceiling plan. They also have to avoid guards in weird pig masks while Jonas holds a fake ceremony. So let me talk about Jonas for a second. He's talked up as a bad guy, but he's a basic cult leader who's flim-flamming people and not much else. He never kills anyone, or even seems to hold people against their will. He's just a fraud who has the crowns. Meanwhile, on the ceiling, the clown has a heart attack and dies, and his hat falls off. They don't show where it goes, but I guess somehow it manages to miss the floor and sets off the sensors. I mean, maybe it spontaneously combusted before it hit the ground. That's all I got. And here's where I point out that this entire ceiling crossing sequence goes on for over 20 freaking minutes. JT finally gets to the crown, but not before the drunk guy gets killed, although to be fair, he literally did nothing up to this point. There's actually no point whatsoever for him to be there. To be honest with you, there's no point for most of them to be there. He assembles this team and really only utilizes the skills of the acrobat. Everyone else is kind of just there. The only character that does anything whatsoever is Mustache Man. And Mustache Man was on the team from the beginning. He's actually one of the ones that hired JT. So, way to go, JT. Mustache Man then gets killed by, I guess, security devices in the statue holding the crowns, which consist of a snake, apparently, leaving us with just JT and the acrobat girl. JT opens the crowns, and they're not damn crowns. They're phantasm spheres at best, with big-ass infinity stones inside, but JT touches them anyway, leading to my favorite scene as a kid. And probably the only scene that is really why you want to watch this movie, because it's hilarious. JT's head, or a convincing mannequin version of it, spins around before he's revealed to be, I guess, possessed by a demon, half-face or something, and then shoots flames out of the crowns and killing Jonas and his men. He does this by shooting meteors and flying sticks at them that are definitely not on strings whatsoever, while Jonas melts. Again, remember that Jonas is really just a cult leader. Sure, I mean, he's a fraud, but I'm not sure he was deserving of being melted to death. And melted to death very, very slowly. JT returns to normal and leaves the crowns behind. They go out of the way to tell us that these things have the power to decide the fate of the world, and our hero is cool with just leaving them on the floor of Cult Guy's castle, as if no one can find them there. Oh, and the film ends with a blob monster rising up from a swamp and shooting towards the camera. Allow me to stress that this has absolutely nothing to do with anything else in the movie at all, because that is the amazingness of Treasure of the Four Crowns. So there you have it. It's just one movie. It's kind of hard to find. I had to find it on Amazon on like a 4-pack DVD of adventure movies, but it was only $8, so it was kind of worth. It was definitely worth it to get it. Really fun watch. I mean, it's terrible. It's really, really terrible. But I had such a good time rewatching this movie and enjoying it. I must have seen this movie about 1,000 times on HBO as a kid. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out because it's terrible. It's really funny. So check it out. Well, that's about it. I want to thank you guys for these past 2 years. This channel is going to keep on going for many, many more, I hope. If you guys keep on enjoying it, I will keep on making videos. This series I'll probably do occasionally. It won't be all the time, but it'll be around. You'll see more Reheated turkeys. If you liked it, let me know. Tell me what you think down below. Subscribe also as well. Do the Patreon thing. You know what to do. I know a lot of people always turn off this section of the video, but yeah, if you've stuck around this long, enjoy this little message. Thanks, guys, very much for watching, and I truly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.